So Samantha is with Sarah Rocco's team in Florida. And she is a recruiting monster right now. She's hiring a lead listing agent, buyer's agents, and admin all at the same time.
And an ISA.
And an ISA, thank you.
Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy town over here.
And she's doing phenomenal at it. She's doing really good.
Thank you.
So you want to tell everybody a little bit about
coach.
You want to tell everybody a little bit about what's going on? And
yeah. So I am obviously, as you all are too, I'm the right hand to Sarah, our rainmaker and owner. And Sarah had, for personal reasons, she's been our, well, back up, she's been our, only listing agent forever. And so for personal reasons, she's actually stepping back a little bit to take some time with family over the next year, or it's actually really unforeseeable as to what that looks like right now. All we know is we need a listing agent stat, and they're really actually going to take over her whole listing position. So Sarah will be moving more into like a director of sales role eventually. And so we are looking to hire a listing agent as soon as possible. So that's been on the list. And then we're a little bit behind on our recruiting from the buyer's agents that we were supposed to have, to be honest, here in 2020. And so I'm actually catch-up recruiting to get those people on board before I need to start, recruiting for 2021, which is right around the corner. And so searching, we just onboarded, I'm onboarding right now a buyer's agent, and we need one more ASAP to be able to hit our goals for this year. We're hiring another ISA at some point, although as I was going through, it was going to be within the next, few months, by October at least. However, I actually ended up finding the right fit who applied for a buyer's agent position. So I am going through the process with him as well, the KPA process. And then let's see, we are urgently hiring a transaction coordinator because we are moving in-house. Our current TC is a third party, and so she's brought on a few more agents because she knew we were transitioning to an in-house TC. And right now she's juggling 100 contracts because she's in between, us transitioning out and then her transitioning new agents in. So we're hiring all of this all at the same time, and it is very interesting. So Paula came, Paula and I started coaching together as soon as, this recruiting really became like my full-time job, pretty much. So the first thing that we did really was make a GPS around what hires I needed to make, what I, how many calls I needed to make each week, how many in-person screenings I needed to do each week, how many KPAs I needed to send each week, and really broke it down almost to like a lead gen standpoint where you would with your agents to figure out what I should be doing every week. And then Paula holding me accountable to that, as well as Sarah, our owner. So it's been crazy, but it's been great. It's been really, I've learned a lot and it's been fun. Yeah.
Nothing like learning with your feet to the fire. How would you say your conversations have gone from the beginning to now?
At the beginning, I wasn't as confident as I definitely am now. Working on our value proposition was something that, as coming from, I brought on buyer's agents and brought on our ISA and other admin. And so that was relatively easy compared to going into a listing agent hire, because our listing agent hire is essentially replacing Sarah, who's we're selling 100 listings a year, or we will this year. That's got to be a big hire. So the conversation was changed to hiring top talent versus a brand new person to the industry. And from the beginning to now, the person that we're, we're looking to hire for the listing agent position, has been in the business for 15 years. She's proven talent. And so that was definitely a shift with scripts, and it was pretty uncomfortable. You know, having those conversations from someone who's been in the business for 4 years to 15 years and showing her, you know, why we're of value to her when she's, you know, when it's in my mind, she's bringing a huge value to us, you know. So that was definitely a shift for me. I think the biggest value piece that we bring for her is our culture. Number one, we have an amazing culture here on the team, and that's really what she was looking for. And lucky, I would say lucky, but lucky for me, you know, she understands the value that a team brings because she's actually had her own team in the past. And so the conversation about how much money she's going to be making versus on her own was a little bit easier than maybe somebody who isn't as prepared, you know, for that conversation. But, you know, you can imagine my shock when I'm typically talking to buyers agents, you know, brand new to the business. They're like, okay, yeah, I want to come to the team, to a listing agent who's like, I want to make $250,000 this year. Show me how I can. And I was like, oh, you know, so that's definitely been a shift for me.
So does anybody have any questions for Samantha? So one of the things you said that is so invaluable is you have to know not only the value of the team, but the value of your team, right?
Yeah. Yeah. it's we have you know, our market center in our area has the top producing teams in Jacksonville. There's probably 5 to 6 market centers around. And so we're competing against some really top talent as far as other agents and other teams go in our market center. And, you know, coming up with our value proposition was, we've already kind of had one in the works, but it really was just almost showing them our P&L and saying, like, look at what we're spending every week, every day, every month, and how you have absolutely zero overhead coming into this business and coming into our team. Zero risk. We're assuming that all for you, and you're able to make way over $250,000 to $300,000 a year was really big. I think one of the biggest things that I learned so far in this recruiting game is that I almost am moving too slow. So we follow the CV process like to a T, and I've lost 2 TCs now who have accepted other jobs because our process is too slow. So that hurt. So I'm learning that I need to, like, speed it up, but also not cut the corners. That's definitely been interesting. I'm curious how other teams do that. You know, how do other teams keep those talented people on the hook while you're still not cutting corners of the CV process?
I found that exhausting to go through that, and I've actually split it between me and my team lead before. So I'll do, you know, the job fit, and then she'll do thought process, and then I'll do life story, you know, so that you can do it bam, bam, bam with them without wearing yourself out on it, and you can still get, I don't know, other parts of your job done too.
Yeah, because I'm spending like 20 plus hours at least recruiting every week. So it's like, you know, the other jobs haven't gone away. That's a good point.
The floor is open, y'all. What questions do you have, or what would you like to talk to Samantha about? I mean, maybe you're not a full-time recruiter, but it sounds like you're almost a full-time recruiter.
Right now. Right now, my calendar is blocked for it, that's for sure. Yeah.
And
I think my biggest struggle is lead sources. Where are you finding the talent? without
Yeah.
spending big money to get your face into the schools and that kind of stuff. You know, social media, LinkedIn, all that stuff just seems to just flop right over on me. So I have a hard time finding the talent to even start attracting them.
One of the best things that that I did to really start conversations was suggested by Paula, actually. And Sarah, she's just a magnet for talent. I mean, I like to think that I am, but like, wow, people see her and they want to work for her, you know? And so she made a series of like 3 or 4 videos in BombBomb. And she said, like, the first one's like, hey, it's Sarah. I don't know if you've heard, but we're hiring a listing agent. We're hiring this, we're hiring that ASAP. But this one was geared towards listing agents. And we're essentially looking for somebody to replace me. Yes, you've heard that right. And like, it was super like informal, really not cutesy, because she's not cutesy at all. And she would hate if I said that word. but just very fun and energetic. And so it was literally like a minute. So if you know anybody who's looking to join a Rockstar team, let us know, blah, blah, blah. So then we sent them out to producers in our area within a certain range of what we were looking for, because, you know, we didn't want a brand new listing agent. And did like a little drip on them. And so after the first, you know, string went out, I actually turned BombBomb on. I don't know if you guys have BombBomb, but I turned it on to where it would notify me when people opened. And that was so stupid because they all opened them. Like, wow. And then they opened them again. And so anybody who opened them more than once, I called them. And then I did like a almost circle prospecting script. Like, hey, I don't know if you've heard, we're looking for a listing agent. Oh yeah, I got your email. Oh, okay, great. Yeah, do you know anybody? And a lot of people, honestly, they were like, no, like, and I'm not interested in changing, but very open to chatting and that feedback. Out of probably like 300 to 400 people who opened the email, and I had 3 really good prospects. So I felt like that was a success. And none of them were a fit, to be perfectly honest, for the listing agent, although they were a good fit for KW. And so 2 of them I've already introduced to our team leader, and one of them probably is not going to go anywhere, and that's okay. But, you know, that was definitely a really good source to get in the face of other agents out there who are already producing. So the BombBomb drip worked like wonders. And I think that the email subject said, I need your help. And like, it had so many opens. It was amazing. Another source of our like agent pool and is actually our team. Our team is super integrated into the community, but also like they're just culturally really solid people, and so their sphere is too. And so actually all the agents that are on our team have come from someone's sphere every single time. So, and like our ISA came from my sphere, our listing manager and executive assistant came from our videographer's sphere. I mean, like, so our team is built on our sphere, truly is. So like, of course we did database emails and let our database know that we were hiring and looking for top talent. But something that has been really big, I feel like I'm talking a lot, but something that has been really big was every single team meeting, I gave a recruiting update for like 10 minutes. And I would say, listing agent, here's where we're at. Here's where I'm at in the process. And like brought them along, all of our team along in the process with me. So like they could feel my struggles too. They could say, hey, what happened with that person you met with, you know, yesterday? And I could be like, not a great fit. They're like, dang it. And they're like consistently out there trying to see if they can find a good fit too. And it was just really staying like top of mind. It's just like, it's like lead generating. Like it really is, but hiring, you know, it was like staying top of mind with our agents. So I think during this period of like 3 to 4 weeks where I've been like hardcore recruiting, I've gotten 1, 2, 3 leads from our team on people who are looking to join real estate. And so again, like that's not where the listing agent came from, but we have some really good talent that's getting their license and looking to join our team at some point.
Samantha, I have a question.
Yeah.
You know, recruiting is sales. It just is. So a lot of sales is based on personality and like how quickly you can build rapport and get into a relationship with your candidates. And by the way, y'all, if y'all did not hear her say that, she just said 300 to 400 cold call emails, 1%. What does that sound like? Sounds like cold call leads for selling houses, 1 to 3%.
Mm-hmm.
And then database and her sphere being a higher yield, so agents. But apart from that, rapport, and like you are clearly very charming. Like you have this like bubbly personality. You're easy to listen to. But what would be your advice for like getting into relationship quickly with your candidates so that you can move them and sell them on this vision? I mean, you're a salesperson. You're selling the dream of being on the team.
Yeah. This has actually been something that I've worked on. Like my personality, like I've always been kind of a bubbly person, but I've also been a people pleaser, and I've had to learn not to be that way. And actually Sarah's really helped. And I think the best way to get in this relationship with someone is to show them that I'm actually not here to sell you on our team. And I'm actually here to talk you out of our team, because I don't want to sell you on anything. I totally realize that if I'm taking you for our team and you know, having you come onto the team and you're not the right fit, or we're not the right fit for you, we're taking you away from your dream job. I don't want that. So like this process, while it is a little bit lengthy, the reason why we're doing this is because I want to be sure that this is going to be a long-term fit for both you and for us. And right then, when you put the ball in their court, almost, it makes them trust you right away, because they're like, oh, okay, so she's looking out for my interests and not just going to hire me to hire me, you know. And then I say, you know, and we're going to meet several times, because, you know, your first time you meet somebody, you're in your interview, like personality, right? And then the second time you meet them, you relax a little bit. And then the third time, like a little bit more, and we get to really know each other. And I think like that's another way to like kind of ease into the relationship. I'm just very transparent about the whole process and why we do what we do. It's like bringing them along. So I think they start to really trust me. And then, to be honest, it makes it easier when you have to give them bad news where you're not the right fit. So this is just real talk. There's an agent who wants to be on our team so bad. Wow, like she's talent. She really is. She's just not the right culture fit for our team, unfortunately. And I had to tell her this week that she's not going to come to the team. And so the script, and again, it's a script, right? Like it's a script. I practiced it and I talked through it, like especially with my husband, because I was really nervous. Because it was going to break her heart. Like she's not interviewing at any other team. I was like, you know what? After meeting with you, after going through all of this, I just need to be very honest with you. I told you that we're not just going to hire you to hire you, and I want to make sure we're not taking you away from the right thing. And honestly, after meeting you, I think the right thing for you may be the single agent path. And I kind of played it this way. I hate to tell you that, because I realize that I'm pushing you away from me, and I know your talent, so that hurts. But I know that this is probably the right decision for you. And I think you need to explore this a little more before we go to the next step in the process. And so I told her, you know, she doesn't really know much about like splits and all of that. And so then I kind of went into the thing, like, you know, with a team, with the market center, you have a cap, but then with the team, you're paying either 40 or 50% or 50 or 60%, depending on the lead type. And like, you are so entrepreneurial that you don't need to do that. You can do this on your own. I just want to be honest with you. And she was like, wow, I've never had anyone tell me something like that before, because, you know, for me, like, it seems like you would just want to recruit me. But I feel like you're really looking out for my best interest. Like she said that face to face, and I was like, yeah, no, I really am, which truly I am, and she's not a good fit, you know? So I was like, what I want to do is let's have a conversation after you explore the single agent thing. Like I didn't like let her down totally, which maybe was bad on my part, but I was like, let's have you explore the single agent option, and I want to go introduce you to our agent, director of agent services, Amanda. She's right over here. And so I told Amanda, I was like, after meeting with her, going through the KPA, I really think that she might be a great fit to be on her own and eventually build her own team. Amanda obviously knew, like, so she like talked it up, and now she's going to come onto the team under my profit share. And she came up to me just yesterday, yesterday, and she was like, Sam, after like talking with other agents and realizing single agent is right for me, and I appreciate you so much for telling me that. And it was like, since we had built that relationship and trust, it was almost easier to like lead her down a different path because she was willing to follow me there. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's just about being very honest and transparent that, you know, while this is an interview process, you know, the reason we're doing this is X, Y, Z. So that's what I would say. Long-winded answer.
I hope y'all got some great point. Like she gave some great advice, like be authentic, like do what's right for them, create win-wins. She even told you the clothes she uses, although she didn't frame it that way because she's yes, high yes, but she uses the take back clothes, right? Like this may or may not be right for you. That's the take back, got to shift.
Mm-hmm.
And then she builds her downline by moving people into the market center through rapport.
And she's pumped. Like she's so excited. She's like, I'm going to see you still all the time. I'm like, you totally are. And you know, that's the other thing too, is like 6 months down the road, when she's gotten her feet wet in real estate and I can really see what she's made of, maybe I'll recruit her at that point, you know, but she needs to explore that single option thing or single agent thing. And then maybe down the road, you know, I haven't broken that tie with her to where like she could be a fit, you know, so pretty cool.
What I love about what you're saying, and I've seen a lot of teams struggle, is around protecting your culture, right? And I love the fact that you've stated that throughout, how important your culture is, how the SOIs, you know, the culture of that's important in the sphere of influence, and then also the people you bring on is important, that you're protecting that culture. And I think for a lot of us, that's where the challenge comes, because we just hire to hire out of pain, and we don't protect the culture. So I love that you had said that through your conversation, the way you look at it.
Thanks. Culture has been number one to us. Like we would rather and that's the reason why we're behind on our goals for hiring agents, is because we didn't find the right culture fit. And we had agreed, Sarah and I, from the beginning, that we're not going to just hire anybody to fill the role. Like if we're going to be behind on our goals, it's because, you know, that's okay. It is what it is, because we want to make sure we're hiring the right fit. On our like job posts, we have like 10 culture pieces. I literally put them there on our job post. And then during the screen call, I ask them, hey, based on the job post that you applied on, which one stood out to you? And it's interesting because some people will be like, oh, and they have no idea, right? They were just applying on Indeed, like click, click, click. And some people will be like, you know what, that actually drew me, and I really love the integrity piece, blah, 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 blah. And so the culture piece, bringing that in from the beginning, especially just on the job ad, has been a huge part too. And we literally bring it up. And that's the thing too, is a group interview. At this time, we have all the people on our team be in the group interview every single time. Schedules are crazy, but we do still. So there's like 8 of us in the group interview, and every single person has to be a hell yes or it's a no. So even if someone's like on the fence, it's a no. And that's tough for the recruiter once you've built a relationship with someone and you have one person going, I don't think they're a right fit. And I'm like, why not? You know, I've fallen in love with somebody. But it's to the point where that person's on the team because they are a culture fit, so we have to trust everybody. And yeah, that happened recently. And we actually found out it was good, because this person, when I actually let them go and said it's not going to work out, you know, he flipped a switch on me. And I was like, wow, yeah, you weren't a good fit, you know? And so that's been hard, but that's probably one of the biggest culture keepers for us during recruiting, is having the whole team having to be a hell yes.
How many people is that, Sam, who have to be a yes?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, 8.
It's a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's so like, and then I'm not in the group interview because I took them through the KPA process. And I feel like I'm more nervous for the group interview than the person probably is. I'm like sitting in my office, like sweating it out. I'm like, are they done yet? Because like, I need to know. So yeah, it's brought them in, and it's been really good. The last 2 people, they were both a hell yes, and I couldn't believe it. And then when I went into my Wednesday accountability meetings with our agents, our 411 meetings, the 2 agents that are have been with us the longest, they both referenced the group interviews and said, hey, I just wanted to say I loved those group interviews. Those are 2 good people. And I thought like, wow, that was 2 days later and like they're talking about it still. And so yeah, something about bringing the whole team along the recruiting journey really helps. It really helps. I don't feel so alone. Oh, I just thought of something else, by the way. Sorry. For the sources where you're getting where the sources for recruits, I also have access to the DBPR. That's our I don't know if all the states are the same, but the division where when people sign up for their real estate exam, it tells you their phone number, their name, when the exam is, and their address. And so I can go in there, it's just an Excel sheet. I can sort it by their address, and it's everybody in Florida. So I pull people just in our like surrounding area, and then I call them and I say, hey, just wanted to let you know, saw that you were taking your real estate exam. So exciting. I want to chat with you because I think I have a lot to offer and I want to be a resource and mentor for you. How does that sound? And it's just like any struggle, like when you're lead generating. I've been in an ISA position before, so like I get the struggle of people not answering. That's a big struggle with this list, although you're getting people before they've even been touched by any brokerage. And you're saying, I want to be a mentor to you, and help you through this process. It's huge. So that's another really good way is to get the list of people taking the exam. Those are more for like new agents or even for admin positions if you want somebody who's licensed.
That's a great idea. I feel like that would work in Ohio though, because to take the exam, you actually have to be sponsored by a brokerage.
Oh,
so,
wow.
However, yeah, it's
Bummer.
really good idea though. I wonder if there's any way to get the people who sign up for the real estate classes.
Yeah, I'm sure there is.
Do you have like a plan that you put all of these people on? Like you said, you sent out a couple of emails and then you'd follow up with them if they like opened the video. Do you have like it sounds like it's just like a 36 touch, like a marketing plan. Like, do you have something like that written out for how you make contact with all these agents?
It is really simple. And like, I actually don't have it like an SOP or anything for it yet, which I would say I should probably have our VA document that now that you mention it. But it is, it literally, the subject was, I need your help. And it said, I let the video do the talking. And I can even send Paula the video, or I can, if you want to like send it out so that way people can see what Sarah's video looked like. But I'm telling you, it was so simple, less than a minute. She was like, hey, guys, we're a top team here in Jacksonville, number 2 team, looking to be number 1. We need a listing agent to replace me. We're growing. Like, who do you know? Help us. Please help us. That was it. That was seriously it. So then I didn't put much in the body of the email just because I, wanted them to open the video and watch it. And then the second was like, hey, did you watch my last video? You. I need you to watch that last video if you didn't. And now watch it now because like, hey, we're looking to hire. And it was just like, that was it. Then the third one was like, okay, I realize that I'm kind of annoying you, but I just want to reach out one last time. Do you know anybody who would be a good fit? Because you're not helping just us, you're helping them too. And that was seriously it. It was quick, it was easy, and she did it on BombBomb. It wasn't anything professional. So
What are some other ideas of where people have gone to look for candidates?
Good question. Anybody?
Actually, a lot of agents on our team, we sold them houses. And so they worked with us, they liked us, and we kept in touch, and they decided they wanted to be real estate agents. So we probably have 4 or 5, like a third of our team. Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, we've had, I think, 4 past clients approach us about joining the team. We put a little thing on the bottom of our newsletter that we mail out every quarter, and we get calls all the time on it.
That's awesome.
Anyone have success using LinkedIn?
Personally, no, to be honest.
Liz and I were talking about this earlier today, but athletes and coaches and teachers really make great candidates. So like college career fairs for athletes, I've had a lot of success at. But I was telling Liz, like when I figured out the coach thing, like assistant coaches for high school or coaches for high school and college teams, they like get it. They are so fun to work with. And if you could get a handful of coaches,
I've heard of people with that teacher thing. I was a teacher too. And when I was teaching, I had someone, a realtor, they dropped off a bucket of goodies, like good goodies too. I'm not talking like just crap. Like it was like high-end snacks. So like we were excited. So, and they were like non-perishable, you know, or not for a while. So it was a really big basket. And at the bottom, it said like, call me to fill me up and I'll come back and like fill your basket back up. But it said something like looking for extra summer cash, become a realtor, you know, and then it also said, of course, if you need a buy, seller, invest, blah, blah, blah. But I always, like, I know as a myself, like it always put something in my mind, like I do have 2 to 3 months in the summer, maybe I should get my license and just sling homes for a few months until I go back to work, you know. So I just thought that was a really good idea. And then I went into real estate full time. That's the goal, right?
And Elizabeth, did you say you were in Ohio?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So depending on where you're at, like Hondros or some of the business career colleges in Ohio will have career nights, and a lot of market centers do not like attending them. So you also, not consistently, but I've went to a few of those before when I was on a team, and they can help. They can be a good resource for you.
Yeah, Pete's talking to RTL about going with them to some. So Pete being my rainmaker.
Zach's in Ohio, so he gets Ohio. Like that's where he came at, Bold Real Estate. I'm not sure if y'all are close, but Ohio's not big compared to Texas, so probably you're close.
I mean, we're both outside of Cleveland, so.
Yep. Sorry, we're not cool like Texas.
It's okay. No one can be.
So those of you who haven't talked, where have the agents on your team come from?
The bulk of our agents have actually come through Sphere. And then we have a couple that came from Indeed.
Ours are all Sphere. Usually somebody the rainmaker has known for a long period of time. Some of them were family.
A lot of our agents are usually related to somebody else within the team. We have my mom's one, and our main listing agent, his brother's also on our team.
So where did the original team members come from before they brought in their family members?
That's a very good question. I am still pretty new, so I don't know all the ins and outs. I know that Tom, the main listing agent, he started his own business on his own, and then started just bringing in his family. So he brought in Phil, who was his brother, and then his wife, who was the listing manager at the time. And then I ended up taking over her role later on. So I'm not entirely sure where they were getting other agents coming from. Some of them didn't work out, but the ones that we have right now are mainly family.
I have a question for the group. Is anyone doing like a 36 touch type thing to agents to try to get experienced agents on their team? And if so, do you have success? Or is this just a pipe dream I have that no one else is doing?
I'm not, however, I'm interested in it.
Okay, you go first and then tell me all about it, okay?
So when you say a 36 touch, how do you get that initial list?
At least in our state, we have this thing called broker metrics where we can scrub the MLS and see, like, with any criteria. So we could go close to our office or big producers or right in the middle, kind of an idea, and start with that. And so my thought was we could take that and kind of come up with the ideal agent that we want and market towards them with emails, ads, phone calls, and just keep going until they hate us or they're on our team. Or they want to be on our team and we don't want them. I guess would be the third.
Yeah, I feel like we probably end up doing something similar. Like we can pull lists of current agents. We can look at what their production was over the past 12 years. And then the other thing in Ohio now too is the first 4 digits of your license number are the year that you got licensed. So we could also figure out, like, is it someone who's been licensed for 1 year, for 3 years, something like that. So like, yeah, basically pick the, like, obviously get rid of all the KW agents and then look at all the other brokerages. And here's our criteria. We're looking for agents that, you know, have sold X amount in production over the last 12 months and then put them on the drip.
Yeah, I did that, Cameron, except it wasn't a 36 touch because they didn't know, like, and trust me yet. So it was more like an 8x8 to 12 direct. And then I had a smaller database of people who I was like constantly touching through my recruiting database. It was okay. I mean, it was all right. It didn't return. I mean, I probably had about 1 to 3%. I forget my exact number at the moment, but for like a, you know, a cold lead source, that's pretty common. And probably about 1 to 3%. And then my small database who I touched regularly was gold because they'd send me referrals. So even if it was like a entrepreneur, like one guy was like some entrepreneur who did golf clubs, like made his own golf clubs. And then over the 2 years I was like farming him, he became like the leading golf club purveyor of Japan. And like, it's like this crazy thing, but he'd send me people all the time because he was recruiting and then we just recruit for each other because we were like a town away. So that database was gold, but it was pretty small. I only really did a high touch for like my A referrers. But it works. It's just like sales.
Another good way to add to that is to have your TC tag co-brokes when you close. Agents that you had really good experiences with that, you know, kind of demonstrate the values that you like on the team. And so I have my TC tag those so that I can attach them to follow-up plans later and call them and thank them and, you know, basically get them into the list as well.
I feel when I was on the team, the most success we had was from the team also. It was from the agents on our team recruiting for us because they're out on the front line every day.
So we currently add all of our co-op agents to the database, and it's not a truly organized drip system, but we do send them, like we have an A, B, and C letter. So everyone gets one. Like A is, you know, you're a rock star and we really loved working with you. And on those, what we've done in the past, though, it's just not consistent. I can't get the agents to follow up with it entirely. We'll take them a book. So we've taken them the red book and put something in there and just said, you know, just to help you grow your business, like, you know, if there's anything we can ever do for you. And we give them a list of their classes, because in our market center, we have contract strategies on Tuesdays at 4, and it's open to anyone. So from any other industry. And we also have title reps that come and insurance agents. And so we'll invite them to that as well. And then we have like a B and C letter, which the C letter is we don't even want them at KW, but we just want to say that we made it through this transaction and yay, you know, so we do that too.
You said something interesting, Sally, like you were talking about your, basically your market center events designed for recruiting, which is a strategy market centers use. Does anybody else recruit through events? Recruit agents through events? No.
I mean, I would say like not purposefully, but like any broker opens that we have, especially on our luxury properties, we try to be purposeful with those people who come in.
I think it goes back to that culture fit though. I mean, if you live in, I'm just thinking about Fresno, and like the people, like everybody knows everybody, right? So you already know all the agents. So it's like a small pool of, I mean, it gets real small when you go down to culture. Like, who's a culture fit? Like, we have plenty of producers, but they are not a fit for our team. So I think that makes it difficult. That's why I was really interested in hearing, like, how do you find, because we're going to need a listing agent. And so just, we may not be able to find somebody that comes in as a producer. We may have to find somebody from, you know, another industry. Like, I love when I hear Lance Loken talk about how they don't hire realtors. And I think that's a great idea. I mean, I didn't come from this industry. And so maybe just finding somebody that has the skills and the work ethic and, I mean, the real culture, the heart, because all the other I feel can be taught. So I would want to, oh, sorry. Try. Look at other industries where, you know, they've been a rock star in sales in that industry.
I agree. I think the sales part is what's key. It's not necessarily the real estate part, it's the sales part.
I will say, you know, the person who, and I'm working through the references with our potential listing agent candidate, she's lived in Jacksonville and practiced for 13 years in Jacksonville. However, she recently moved to California for 2 years and heard that we were hiring a listing agent, and she's moving back to Jacksonville. So like, it may not necessarily, it might, you know, opening up your search a little bit. Although when you're looking for a listing agent, obviously you want an expert in the area. So luckily she has a ton of knowledge of the area, but you never know, you know, people outside of your market may be looking.
Samantha, I wanted to ask you, can you share your value piece that you said for your team that you include with your ad?
Yeah. It is. Here, I can just share my screen real quick. So this is our culture. We spent a lot of time putting this together. Sarah and I and another leader on the team, and this is like at the beginning of our ad. I can actually even pull up the Indeed ad. That would probably be better. I can show you because we have our mission, our vision, our values. I'm not gonna lie, like it's kind of long, and I thought like, ooh, this might be way too long. However, let me move this. Oh, don't you hate when that happens? Okay, anyway, we'll just look at the edited version. So we have why join the Rocco group, like, you know, the stuff that we offer and that may attract others. And then we have our vision, our mission, and then our values, which, yeah, these are the values that I refer to. So at every team meeting, we say out loud our mission and it's like we're doing the Pledge of Allegiance almost. It was kind of funny at first, but now it's just a habit, and all of our team members, we say our mission and our vision every single team meeting. And so like if you went up to one of our agents and said, hey, what's your mission? Like they would be able to know it right away. And we talk about it. What's our vision? They would know it. And then we also go through our core values. At our team meeting on Mondays, we pick one each week, and it's just a cycle. And so we'll say, you know, our core value this week is accountability, someone who's accountable. The definition for this is XYZ. Who would you like to shout out over the last week who you've really seen displaying this? And so we bring the agents into it, and we're consistently improving it, or not improving it, but shouting people out and just bringing them up.
Does anybody else share their mission in a group like that on a consistent basis?
We used to, however, instead we used to go through like our core values in a similar way, like highlighting one every week. And we've actually moved away of that in place of talking about like what we're grateful for in our team.
Something else, just side note too, that's really helped with recruiting and getting organized, which I know all of you are organization freaks, I'm sure. However, I use Trello to like move each card and each person to the next step of the interview process and have the checklist in there, and it's just been phenomenal. So like literally I just attach like, I scan in their verification, attach it to their card. Move it to the thought process, scan their thought process in, attach it to the card, move it to the life story motivation, take a photo of those, you know, put it in. So at any time, if our Rainmaker wants to see where someone's at in the process, if she wants to see like what their answers are or any of that, their DISC is in there, their resume, their KPA, all of it. So that's been really helpful too.
So why did you guys join this call today?
Because we're having a hard time finding good agents for our team.
Because recruiting is the least favorite part of my job, and I wanted to hear how other people do it. So maybe I could have a mind shift.
I've never recruited and I know nothing about it. So I really wanted to hear everyone else's opinions on it.
Can I share just a thought or a perspective? Okay, I see some head down. You know, one thing I would say is find a friend, find a partner, and that accountability, right? And from our perspective, a MAPS coach, it'll make a difference. And whether you do or don't, still find a partner. And I can attest to that because Megan and I used to script and role play around this very topic and subject, right? Of how do we do it better? What are we doing that's working? What's not working? And how can we change? It would be like, what, Megan, 15 minutes, 20? I mean, sometimes it wouldn't be that long, but just having someone to discuss this with and relieve some of that where it's not all on you, right? You can talk to someone else and be like, okay, what are you doing that's working? Because this didn't. So if you don't have that, I would recommend that like tomorrow, right? Finding that partner and discussing it.
I would, oh, you go. No, you go.
I would just say, even if you have a MAPS coach, which if you're here, you do, because that's like who's here. But like I had 3 MAPS coaches at the height of when I was doing all this, and I still had people like Zach. Like that's how Zach and I met, through our MAPS coach. But like that's a different level of accountability and support. It's like somebody doing what you do, whereas your MAPS coach is like dedicated to coaching. If you find someone who is also dedicated to recruiting, it's just a different connection. It's a meaningful connection in a different kind of way.
I was just going to say that, you know, along with Zachary's point, is that it takes a lot of energy, especially if you're doing it, you know, at a high level, calling and meeting people and over back-to-back appointments. And then like now I'm onboarding someone. So we're spending like 4 hours a day training and learning real estate from the bottom up. Like it's a lot of energy. So I've had to like give myself permission to like actually go eat my lunch and like turn off my computer, because I never do that. And that's not a great habit, but like I have to, because I know that if I'm not doing that and taking some me time to refresh, then my meetings in the afternoon are not going to be as great as they would have been if I had just taken some time and not checked my emails, you know? That's been a shift.
Sally, is there anything around recruiting that you really like? Is there
You said that
anything?
again.
Is there anything around recruiting that you really like?
No, not really. I mean, I was HR for so many years, and that was just one of the things. Yeah, no, probably no part of it do I like. But then, sorry. But then, so my previous coach was Brindley, and it was when I was actually having to do a lot of hiring. And so we worked on that a little bit. And I don't know, we dug deeper through all that. So what I ended up doing and how I made it through that period, and kind of like what Samantha you're going through, it's just like a lot, so much, is that like one thing she said, and that kind of clicked for me and it worked, is that like really that first phone interview, you know, you go through and you cull through all the paperwork, find the ones you like, make the 3 piles. And then those people, when I talked to them on the phone, she's like, well, that's only a couple minutes, right? And if you don't click, if it doesn't make sense right there, you're done. And I think I had made it bigger, because then she says, well, when you do meet with somebody, you're going to meet with somebody that you might actually like connect with. And I was like, oh yeah, and that is true. It sounds so simple, but like I wasn't envisioning that. So that made it easier. It's just, I think for me, I love so much of the rest of my job, and that takes me from it. So it's very, very challenging.
I think the language makes a big difference. Things I've seen work across other teams is not using the word recruiting, which does have a negative task, right? And you're looking for business partners. And I think coming from it, that perspective also changes then the way that you view the call, because now it's not a recruiting. Now we're looking for a business partner to see if it's a fit.
I love that. I'd forgotten that Brindley had said something similar to that too. I don't know why I forgot that, but I just wrote that down because it is, and it makes it completely different. Like even right now, I have just a complete mind shift and physically feel different about it. Because that's growth. Like that's what I do, right? That's making a difference. That's growth. That's growth of people, growth of the team. Like I can already see that. Like that gives me chills. So thanks for that.
We can thank Brindley because that is true. I'm sure others, and Brindley was my coach at the early beginning, as Megan stated. So yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
Awesome. Okay, we are out of time. Sam, thank you so much for coming in and sharing. You did
My pleasure.
Thank
My
you.
pleasure. It's so fun.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. See you guys later.